So my first major in college was to become a nurse, and I had gotten to healthcare and realized that it just wasn't for me. And so I sat down and I kind of reevaluated my life and what I wanted to do and what would truly make me happy. And somewhere in my education, teaching got pushed to the side, even though that was what I've always wanted to do since I was little. And so when that came across my mind again, I realized how happy teaching will make me and what impact it will have on my life and what impact I'll have on my students' lives. And so it was super important that I changed my degree and that I'm doing something that's really going to make me happy. And so taking this class, I had a few different key learnings that I took away from it, not only broadening my idea of what teaching really is and the foundations of what a good teacher makes, but some issues. And so one of the first things that I took away from this class was issues in education, funding issues, standardized testing issues, a whole bunch of other little things that come into play, but those are the two main ones that I really found challenging to my thinking, because I never liked standardized testing when I was in school, and so trying to figure out ways that as a teacher I can better my students from feeling like they're going to be overwhelmed with this one big test. And one of the things that really helped me to look at was doing mini tests throughout the year and doing mini evaluations versus just having this one big test at the end, which is scary to anyone. And so that was one of my key learnings. I also took away some different learning techniques that we have. For instance, when we talked about how we could incorporate the seasons into the classroom and what are some ways that we can have kids think about, what summer is and what spring is and what fall is, and having just those different ways to look at the ways kids interpret things and the ways that us as teachers are presenting them to them is just super important. So I really took that away with this class. And also I took away being able to address different techniques of learning. And so knowing that I have a student who is not a visual learner and who is a hands-on learner, and so trying to address those different learning styles in my classroom personally is something that I also had taken away. And I just want to make sure that I'm setting every student up for success, and I just want to make sure that I am going to be a teacher that I would have want to have and would have wanted. I want to see all of my students succeed. So for question 2, I think my area of professional strength will be open to always learning. One of the reasons why I changed my degree in the first place was I'm not very set on having one specific major. I don't want to major in science. I don't want to major in history. I want to know a little bit of everything, not because it's easy, but because I want to have a broad spectrum of education. I don't want to say, oh, I only know science, or I only know, everything that happened between 1500 and 1800. Like, that's just not who I am. And so this view of mine to always keep learning and to always better my education and understanding of something, I think, is going to be one of my strengths. And being able to take constructive criticism and knowing that when someone is telling me or showing me how to do something better, doesn't mean that I'm doing it wrong, but means that there's always room for improvement. One of my areas for professional growth is to be a little bit more creative. I am creative in my own little way, but sometimes I need some ideas to spark my own thinking, and so having some resources to get me started on that and to get some things in the classroom to really get kids thinking and get kids being active and just not doing just a sit there and lecture kind of classroom, because especially in elementary, kids don't sit for 8 hours long, and that's just not ever going to happen. And so making sure I get them up and moving but still learning and being productive is really important. And so that's one of the things that I've taken away, and I've realized that needs to be something that I work on as an individual. So 2 goals that I have for developing my skills and habits of mind would be making sure I'm staying professional in the classroom. I am currently in healthcare, and so that is, it's my environment that I'm in now. You have to be professional, and it's hard because I work in a nursing home, and so I have a lot of death and dying and disease and sickness, and it gets depressing at times, and us as a community really try and make our job as lightful as it can be, because it is super hard to watch people die. And so I want to take that same motivation and apply it to teaching. Even though teaching is not as upsetting, I want to be able to be professional, but I also want to have fun. I want to learn and show these kids that learning can be fun, and if you look at it in a certain way, it'll always make you think and change your way of thinking, and it leads to so many other opportunities down the road. Another goal is being able to communicate with parents. I want to make sure that as a teacher that I don't come off offensive, or I don't come off as knowing their kid better than they do. That can be something I can see frustrating in teaching. And so I want to learn techniques to better communicate with them and also better communicate with their kids. I want to be able to sit down and see, okay, little Jimmy's struggling, and why is he struggling, and be able to be the person that he feels comfortable to talk with, so I can better help him, and I can also better talk to his parents and see, if there's something going on outside of the classroom, if there's something I can do personally to just better address his issues as much as I can without sacrificing everyone else. And so I think working on those 2 things is really 2 goals that I have to develop my skills of habit, and I just want to be the best teacher I can be. And I think that being in this profession is going to be difficult because of the issues and the challenges that I'm going to face, but I also know that it's going to be very rewarding, and that as long as I'm doing the best I can as an individual teacher, that I will be setting my students up for success, and that's the most important part, and making sure that their best interest is always in hand. And so taking this class made me realize there's a lot to education, that it's not just, going to school and writing lesson plans, that there's a lot of issues and problems, but there's also a lot of upbeat and rewarding things that come along with it. And so just knowing that every profession has its pros and cons, and just knowing that I'm doing something that I'll really love is the best thing. And so taking this class has really helped me to make sure that I am on the right path that I want to be on, and just knowing that when I get my own classroom, it will be really exciting. So